The love of gardening doesn't change as the years go by. Sometimes the back does, and that's perfectly all right, because these 9 flowers ask almost nothing of your body and give everything back in return. Every single one of them can be sown by simply scattering or pressing seeds into soil. No digging, no kneeling, no heavy lifting required. Raised beds, containers, window boxes, or ground level with a long-handled tool, these flowers work beautifully in all of them. Sow this August, and something wonderful is coming. Here's what to sow. If sowing seeds were graded for ease, Nasturtium would earn top marks every single time. The seeds are large and round, almost the size of a small pea, and easy to pick up and place even for hands that don't quite cooperate the way they used to. You simply press each seed about ½ an inch into moist soil, give it a drink of water, and within 10 days, those cheerful, round leaves appear. By fall, the flowers arrive, vivid orange, warm red, soft yellow, and creamy white, tumbling freely from containers, spilling over window boxes, and brightening the front porch in a way that never gets old. In mild climates, they'll bloom well into November without any help from you. Here's the lovely surprise that many gardeners don't know until they try it. Every part of the nasturtium is edible. The flowers taste lightly peppery and are beautiful scattered over a salad. The leaves have the same gentle bite. Growing something this beautiful that you can also bring to the table, there's something genuinely wonderful about that. A container on the porch step, a window box, or a raised bed, any of these suits nasturtium perfectly, and the sowing couldn't be gentler on your hands or your back.
Calendula, the old-fashioned pot marigold, has been growing in American cottage gardens for as long as anyone can remember, and for very good reason. Those warm orange and golden yellow blooms are among the most cheerful flowers in existence, and they're among the most effortless to sow of any flower in this video. Just scatter the seeds across prepared soil from your natural standing height, no crouching, no tools, no measuring. Press them in lightly with the flat of your hand or the back of a rake, give them a good drink of water, and they'll do everything else on their own. They germinate reliably in the still warm August soil and produce blooms before you know it, with a generous second wave in early spring that arrives before most other plants have even thought about waking up. Calendula self-seeds so faithfully that many gardeners simply stop buying seeds after the first year. Leave a few spent flower heads to dry on the plant each season, and you'll have new seedlings appearing every spring right where you need them, without lifting a finger. They're also wonderful cut flowers for the house, long-lasting in a vase, and that warm golden color makes even a gray November afternoon feel a little more cheerful indoors.
Love in a mist. What a name for a flower, and what a perfect one it is. Those delicate sky blue, white, and soft purple blooms nestled in a haze of wispy, thread-like foliage look like something from a Victorian watercolor, and they're among the easiest flowers in the world to get growing in August. Simply scatter the fine seeds across a patch of soil. You can do it straight from the packet, from the palm of your hand, or even mixed with a little sand to help spread them more evenly across a wider area. Rake very lightly over the top, water gently, and they'll germinate and establish without any further help from you.
After flowering, the beautiful balloon-shaped seed pods that develop are just as decorative as the flowers themselves. Many gardeners cut them for dried arrangements, and the pods look perfectly lovely in a basket or a glass jar through the winter months. The ones left on the plant simply split open and scatter their seeds, ensuring a new generation of love in a mist comes back the following year without you needing to sow a single seed. Once you have it growing, it tends to return faithfully year after year, a self-sustaining gift that asks very little and gives a great deal.
Few flowers in the garden have quite as soft and silky petals as the Shirley poppy. Those tissue-thin blooms in shades of blush pink, shell white, lilac, and soft rose nod gently on their slender stems in a way that is simply enchanting. They're named after the English village of Shirley, where a vicar carefully selected them from wild poppies more than 100 years ago, and there is something wonderfully old-fashioned about their gentle beauty. And they couldn't be easier to sow. Scatter the seeds straight from the packet across bare or lightly raked soil. You can do it entirely from your standing position, letting the seeds fall naturally where they may. They actually prefer this method to careful, spaced planting. They like a little randomness, a little crowd, and they self-arrange into exactly the soft, naturalistic drifts that look most beautiful. Sow in August, and they'll lie quietly through autumn and winter, then burst into bloom in late spring with a display that takes almost no effort to achieve. They self-seed reliably too, so a planting established this August may well return on its own for many years to come.
There's no flower on this list, or perhaps in all of gardening, that more people simply love than the pansy. Those cheerful little faces, each one uniquely patterned in its own combination of velvety colors, have a way of making you smile no matter how many times you've seen them. And for gardeners who prefer to work at a comfortable height, pansies in a window box or a container on the porch step are one of the most rewarding and manageable choices available. Start seeds in small pots on a table or kitchen counter in August. No kneeling, no bending, just sitting or standing at your comfortable working height. Once they've reached a couple of inches tall in September, tuck them into your window box, a container, or a garden bed with the gentlest of effort. From that point, they look after themselves beautifully. October arrives and your pansies are in full, cheerful bloom while the rest of the garden is winding down. They'll rest through the coldest weeks of winter, then surprise you in February or March by blooming again, sometimes while there's still frost on the ground. That early spring color, arriving when you need it most, is one of the most genuinely heartening sights in the whole gardening year.
On a warm fall afternoon, there are few garden fragrances more quietly lovely than sweet alyssum, that soft, honey-sweet scent that drifts up from the low clusters of tiny flowers and simply perfumes the air around it. When it's growing in a container or a raised bed at a comfortable height, that fragrance meets you at exactly the right level. No bending down required, just sitting nearby and breathing it in. Sowing couldn't be simpler. Open the packet and scatter the tiny seeds across moist soil, at the edge of a container, along the front of a raised bed, across a window box. No burying, no spacing, no tools needed. Press them gently with your fingertip or the palm of your hand, water carefully so you don't wash them away, and they'll germinate within a week. By October, that honey fragrance will be drifting across your porch or garden every time a warm afternoon breeze comes through. Sweet alyssum self-seeds so freely that once you've grown it in a spot, it tends to find its way back there every year without any help at all, which means less work and more pleasure with every passing season.
If there's one flower that says American Cottage Garden more clearly than any other, it just might be the Bachelor's button. That vivid, true blue, one of the rarest colors in the entire flower world, has been growing in American gardens for generations. And the sight of a patch of it in full bloom, with butterflies working the blooms on a warm September afternoon, is one of those garden moments that reminds you exactly why you've always loved this. And sowing them couldn't be gentler. Scatter seeds straight from the packet across prepared soil from your natural standing height. No bending, no tools, no measuring distances. They're not fussy about spacing. They actually look more natural and more beautiful when they're allowed to grow in a relaxed, informal drift rather than in a neat row. They'll bloom in fall and then again in early spring, giving you 2 full seasons of that beautiful blue for one single August sowing. They self-seed reliably too, often returning without any encouragement at all, which means your Bachelor's buttons may well be back year after year from this one planting, doing all the work themselves.
The fragrance of pinks, that warm, spicy, sweet clove scent that has been a signature of old-fashioned gardens for as long as anyone can remember, is one of those smells that carries genuine memories with it. Many of us first knew it from a grandmother's garden or from a vase of flowers brought inside on a summer evening. Growing annual pinks gives that fragrance back to you every fall and spring, right at your fingertips. Annual pinks are wonderfully compact, typically staying between 8 and 12 inches tall, which makes them perfect for containers, window boxes, and the front edge of a raised bed, all places where you can tend them without straining your back. Start seeds in small pots on a table or kitchen windowsill in August. Let them reach a couple of inches tall, and then transplant them gently in September into wherever you'd like them to grow. The fringed, intricately patterned blooms and shades of rose red, deep pink, white, and bicolored combinations are beautiful cut for a small vase on the kitchen table, and that clove fragrance fills a room just as sweetly indoors as it does in the garden.
We close with one of the most beloved flowers in the American cottage garden, and one that brings as much joy to grandchildren as it does to the gardeners who grow it. The Snapdragon, with its velvety blooms in every color imaginable, and that wonderful trick of snapping open and closed when you give them a gentle squeeze, is a flower that connects generations in the most delightful way. Start seeds in small pots on a table in August, indoors and at comfortable working height, no bending or kneeling involved. Set them near a bright window, keep them moist, and within 2 weeks you'll have small plants ready to grow on. By September, they go into containers on the front porch, a window box, or a raised garden bed, and then the blooming begins. Snapdragons are cool season flowers, which means they're at their very best in the mild temperatures of fall and spring, exactly when a garden most needs color. In many parts of the country, they bloom right through until a hard freeze arrives. In mild winters across the south and along the Pacific coast, they carry through the winter months entirely, blooming on warm February mornings when the rest of the garden is still asleep. Few cut flowers last as beautifully in a vase, and few garden flowers give you quite as much genuine, uncomplicated joy.
Nine flowers, every one of them sown from a standing position, a seated chair, or the comfortable height of a raised bed or porch container. Every one of them beautiful enough to have earned a place in the best gardens in the world, and effortless enough to ask very little of the back, the knees, or the hands. The love of gardening is one of the finest things a life can hold. These flowers honor that love exactly where you are, exactly as you are. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. If this video was useful to you, I'd be so grateful for a like and a subscribe. It truly helps this channel more than you know. And leave a comment below. Which flower are you sowing first this August? I read every single one, and I love hearing from you. Happy gardening, ladies. Go sow something beautiful.